The cafeteria fell silent for a split second, then erupted in cruel laughter. Hot coffee dripped down her hair, staining her white shirt brown, pooling onto the floor as she stood frozen. The quiet girl, Lena, had always tried to make herself invisible, but at that moment, every eye in the school was locked on her. The bullies stood smirking, mugs in hand, proud of their masterpiece of humiliation. She clenched her fists under the table, her heart pounding with rage and shame. That was the day Lena decided she would never be silent again. Lena had always been the quiet one. She kept her head down, studied hard, and rarely spoke unless asked. People thought she was weak because she chose peace over confrontation. The bullies, Mara, Jason, and their crew, sensed her silence like sharks smelled blood. They called her Ghost Girl, stole her notebooks, and whispered insults when teachers weren't looking. But this time, the coffee stunt crossed a line too deep to ignore. That night, Lena locked herself in her room and cried, not because she was weak, but because she knew she had a choice to make. She could stay quiet and let them win, or she could rise, not with fists or insults, but with something stronger, her mind, her courage, and her ability to surprise everyone who ever doubted her. The next day, she walked into school with her head held higher than usual. Whispers floated around the halls about the coffee incident, and some kids even filmed it, spreading it online. The humiliation still stung, but Lena used that fire to fuel her plan. She started by observing the bullies closely, where they sat, who they hung out with, what made them feel untouchable. Slowly, quietly, she began preparing her revenge, not the cruel kind, but one that would flip the entire school against them. The first challenge Lena faced was fear. Every time she passed Mara and Jason, her stomach twisted. They sneered, expecting her to shrink, but she forced herself to meet their eyes. The second challenge was loneliness. No one dared to stand with her, afraid of becoming the next target. She had to fight this battle on her own. And the third challenge, self-doubt, nearly crushed her. Was she strong enough to stand up to them? Or was she just setting herself up for another humiliation? Her turning point came during the school's annual talent show. Mara and Jason had planned a flashy dance performance, bragging all week about how they would own the stage. Lena, however, signed up quietly under everyone's radar. She didn't choose dance or singing. She chose spoken word poetry, something she had secretly been writing for years. It terrified her, but she knew words could cut deeper than anything else. The night of the show, the auditorium buzzed with energy. The bullies performed first, flashy as always, earning cheers from their friends. Then came Lena's turn. She stepped onto the stage, microphone trembling in her hand, her heart hammering like a drum. At first, a few students. The cafeteria buzzed with laughter, chatter, and the clatter of trays when it happened. Mara, the queen bee of the school, strutted behind Lena with a steaming mug in her hand. Jason, her partner in crime, smirked, whispering loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. Let's give Ghost Girl a little flavor. Before Lena could react, the hot coffee splashed over her head, dripping down her face, soaking her white shirt, and staining her books. The cafeteria froze. For a heartbeat, silence hung in the air, then came the eruption. Laughter. Phones lifted. Fingers pointed. Lena stood stiff, her fists clenched, her cheeks burning. She wanted to scream, to cry, to vanish. But she didn't. She simply grabbed her tray, dumped it in the bin, and walked out, her wet sneakers squeaking against the floor. Behind her, Mara's voice rang out. Oops. Guess quiet girls need a wake-up call. That night, Lena sat in her room, her wet book spread across her desk. Tears blurred her vision, but anger boiled inside her. For years, she had let them push her around. She thought ignoring them would make them stop. But this was war. Her first challenge was fear. Every time she thought of confronting Mara, her stomach twisted. What if they humiliated her again? What if the whole school laughed? She pressed her palms against her face and whispered, I can't, but I have to. The next day at school, she noticed how the video of the coffee incident was already viral in the hallways. Kids she had never spoken to were laughing behind their phones. A group of girls giggled as she walked past. Careful, one said, she might drip again. Lena's chest tightened, but she didn't cry. Instead, she began planning. If they wanted the whole school to laugh at her, she would make the whole school watch them fall. She started by staying late in the library, writing. Not homework, but poetry. Words poured out of her like a storm. Words about pain, betrayal, cruelty, silence, and strength. Each line cut deeper than the last, each stanza louder than the voice she had never dared to use. Her second challenge was loneliness. Nobody stepped forward to help her. Her classmates whispered sympathy but kept their distance, too afraid of Mara's wrath. Sitting alone in the cafeteria, Lena realized she was fighting this battle on her own. But then came an unexpected ally. Ethan, a quiet boy from her English class, slid into the seat across from her one afternoon. That was messed up, he said simply, his voice low. They think they're untouchable. Maybe, you should show them they're not. Lena hesitated, her voice barely above a whisper. How? Ethan leaned closer. Talent shows coming. People expect them to win again. But if you went up there, you could show everyone who you really are. The idea terrified her. Standing in front of the entire school. Speaking. What if she froze? But the more she thought about it, the more she realized it was her chance. Her revenge wouldn't be a prank or